common question that I get asked when it comes to snow plowing is, how do you get started? It's an expensive investment. You're paying at least, $5,000 for a snow plow, and you need a decent truck to plow with, something that's reliable, that's not going to break down. How did I get to that point? Well, I worked for quite a few years to be able to save up and buy a used truck, which my truck, 2005 Ford F-150, I bought it for about 10 grand, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And I take really good care of it. Anything that breaks, I'm on it right away. So I take very good care of my equipment. As for the plow, I worked for a year at a summer camp. Actually, I was an EMT. I still am an EMT, but I was an EMT at the time. And I was basically a camp nurse. I take care of cuts and boo-boos and stuff like that. And I saved up money for that whole summer, and that paid off this plow pretty much. So that's how I purchased my equipment. But how did I actually get into snow plowing? Well, I'd have to say it started when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My parents were divorced, and it was my dad's turn to hold on to us kids. And he was a snowplow driver. He had his own landscaping company, and he plowed in the winter. So being that we were with him, we had no choice but to hang out in the back seat of his, it was like a 1999 Dodge V10 white truck. It had like the extended cab. It didn't have the crew cab, so it was kind of tight in the back. It's kind of strange that I remember that, but I remember just chilling in the car seat just for hours on end. He'd feed us and take care of us well, but I guess that's really where my interest started growing with snowplowing, just from that young age, and I guess it's been in my blood ever since. So as I grew up, I was fortunate enough that my family had a compact tractor. We started off with a Kubota BX22, I think, tractor. So that's like a smaller compact tractor, and it had like a little snow plow on the front. We change out every year, and I started doing my driveway, and then my neighbor eventually saw, hey, that guy does a good job, and I started getting my neighbor, and then next thing you know, that neighbor referred it to the next neighbor, and within the first 3 years of just doing my driveway, not advertising at all, I had my house plus 4 or 5 of my neighbors' houses right there. So now, I know what you're saying, you should have had insurance and stuff like that, but, I was just a neighborhood kid making money. I mean, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and, I was very careful. I never damaged anything, and it was a great way to make a little bit of side income, even though I really wasn't charging that much at the time. Pretty decent sized driveway. I'm talking like one with a circle, and then like a strip that went down along the garage. I charged maybe $20-25 at the time, but, now that price is doubled at least, so. Yeah, so I started with the compact tractor, and then a couple years later, as that started to grow into like a little neighborhood business, I started working with a gentleman that I met at the firehouse. He was an older gentleman. He needed somebody to help shovel with him. So I started going out with him and shoveling with him, and I really liked it. It was fast-paced. He fed me. I'd say that's a big thing for anybody that keeps like shovel people with them, or your workers that you manage. Buy them a hot drink, buy them some food every now and then. It really boosts their morale, and it really makes them want to work harder. But yeah, so I was shoveling with this guy, and I was just observing how he plowed. I observed what he did, and I learned a lot from him. I learned how to shovel fast. I learned how to do these things 1, 2, 3. And so basically from riding with this guy, I just learned the general operation of how you plow and stuff along those lines. Granted, he never let me drive his truck, but I did learn a lot from him. And unfortunately, after 2 years of shoveling with him, he passed away. And me being somewhat of his prodigy, somehow almost all his clients got referred to me, and I took on probably half his client base, which that had to be 12 people at the time. Plus I had these couple accounts that I already had as my neighbors, and still I have not done any advertising. And over the course of a couple of years, I got up to 20 clients. So there I was at 20 years old, and I had about 20 accounts, and that is great. It took me a couple of years to get started, but once you get going, it's like a train. But here's the thing. You want to make sure you offer high quality work. You want to do the best job that you can, because what that leads to is word of mouth advertising. You'll have one client refer you to another client, and that's really the key to this business. You can do online advertising, but you never know what you're going to get. Whenever I get like word of mouth advertising, like 98% of the time, that client refers me to another great client. I've had 1 or 2 that have been kind of mediocre that I had to kind of withdraw from, but quality of work is key. I can't tell you how many plow guys I see that'll come in and do a 2-car driveway in 2 passes and they'll leave, you know, a couple trails of snow behind. And no. If you have a 2-car driveway and it takes some guy 2 passes to do it, be the guy that does it in 4 passes. Make sure you clean every inch. And I've also offered additional services. I've always offered sidewalk clearing, cleaning off cars, clearing off that spot in between the garage and the actual driveway that you can never really get with the plow. And I just do the best job I can. And it's actually led to more business than I can handle on my own. I've actually had to turn down clients in recent years because I just can't handle all these accounts. I know what you're saying. I could hire another driver, but that's a whole nother thing for another video. I've chosen not to do that. But so as I had these referrals, what I ended up doing was I ended up taking clients that I didn't really enjoy or that were really far away, and I told them, hey, look, I'm sorry, but I can't really do your drive. I'd never drop them in the middle of the season, of course, but you know, at the end of the season, I tell them, look, you know, you're really far away. I'm sorry, but I can no longer maintain your driveway. So I'd lose that client, but I'd gain a client closer and maybe one that I could charge you even more. So over the past 5 years, I've just been fine-tuning this. So now all my accounts are close by. They're good paying, reliable customers, and that's ultimately what you want. So it's probably not what you want to hear, but the key to starting off in this business is start out small. Get a reliable 4-wheel drive vehicle, preferably a 3/4 ton or 1 ton truck. I do a half ton. Half ton works fine. Or excuse me, half ton is great for residential, but if you want to eventually maybe get into commercial or more heavy duty plowing, it's better to start looking at like a 3/4 ton or a 1 ton, but you know, of course those cost more. So start out with a reliable 4-wheel drive vehicle and get a plow. You can get used plows. I prefer new because you know what you're getting. You don't know what used plows have gone through, but any handyman could always fix them up. But overall, you want something reliable. And start out small. Start off with your driveway, offer a cheap price to your neighbors, start getting that word of mouth advertising going, which is really key. And then just keep working your way up from there. It's not going to happen in one season, really. It's not going to happen overnight, but just keep building up. And if you have a mentor, you know, ask for some experience from them. Like, it takes a lot of skill to handle this plow and plow properly and know exactly where your plow is. So just take it easy, practice, be careful. So just start small, work your way up from there, and you can build this business into anything you want. I choose to keep it kind of small at about 20 residential clients, but if I wanted to, I could absolutely expand into commercial, but that's bigger investment, more risk. You get the picture.